How's it going? I'm Jeremy with MS Videos. This is a Mil-Spec AR-15 trigger install. I've seen a lot of these on the internet and I just kind of wanted to do my own. First off, tools you need a punch, plastic tip or nylon tipped hammer. To make your life easier, a slave pin just to install the disconnector. But it's not needed, you can get by without it if you just use a punch. Yeah, 2.55 ounces or 72 grams.
Got it.
Parts that we're going to be using. This is your Mil-Spec trigger setup. You've got your Mil-Spec trigger, Mil-Spec hammer, hammer spring, trigger spring, disconnector, disconnector spring, and a pair of hammer and trigger pins. If you're watching this video, you are trying to figure out how to put a Mil-Spec trigger into an AR-15. So, with everything we just showed you, you should know what tools you need and what parts you need, and you should have it laid out in front of you. To make your life easier, have already prepped your lower receiver and have it on a bench block just to make your life easier so it's not moving around. You can do it without it, but you do take a chance of scratching things. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you find value in this video. And we did just open up our memberships. So if you, I think it's $4 a month, $4.99 a month, you can get all the behind the scenes footage that we throw up, and it's exclusively just for members. And we also have some deals on merch when we get that set up. So yeah, be a member. We love you. This is your trigger, and this is your trigger spring, and you want to put these together. So I'm just going to bring it close to me because it makes it a little easier. You want to install your spring onto your trigger by hooking the front part under this nose cone, coming over here, and it just fell into place for me. So you should end up like that. So there's your trigger with your trigger spring. This is hooked around the front. These come down, so when you insert them into there, these push down flat against the bottom of the receiver. So next thing you need to insert is your disconnector spring, and there is two sides. If you notice here, there's a fat side and a skinny side. They are different diameters. Hopefully you can see that there. Skinny, fat. Take the fat side and put it into the machined hole that's machined into the trigger itself, and you just simply push it down in there. Nice sound effects. And then it sits like that. Your disconnector comes in. Make sure the hook is facing forward. Line up your pin holes, and then that should sit in there just like that. Hopefully you can see that clearly. Make your life a little easier if you have one. Just insert your slave pin in here, line it up like so, and that just holds it in place while you put it into the firearm. So now that this is assembled, we just drop it right down into the lower receiver. There's a machined opening, and it's just going to rest in there like that, and those springs are going to be holding the front of the trigger off of the deck. At this point, you take your trigger pin, and you go, there's two machined grooves into it. Those go in last. Now you can insert the smooth side of the trigger pin first, and you're just going to drive out that slave pin. This is where the hammer comes in. Just use a nylon tip just to protect your lower. Tap it like that. Slave pin will pop out the other side. And then I like to use a punch and just hold it against the pin, just so that you're not directly hitting the metal with the hammer. Even though it's nylon, just makes it so you protect the finish. So you should be finished with this being flush on this side and this being flush on this side. Now we're going to do the hammer. So take your hammer. This part of the hammer is the part that makes contact with the firing pin. So this is the back side and this is the front side. This spring is going to sit on there like that, and it's going to be trapped. So the way I do it is I just put it vertical like this, get one side over like that, and then the other side over like that. And then when this rotates in, this spring is going to be trapped against the back side of the trigger. I'm sorry, the hammer. And these two springs are going to be on the bottom side. So when it gets inserted, they go like that. And that is how it keeps the tension on. Put these two in on the back side of here. Slide them into place. And now you're just going to push the the hammer forward and keep that lined up until your pin becomes accessible, and we are straight smooth side in first. So right here, hopefully you can see that in there. I'm just going to reverse this just a tiny bit. I'm going to put the punch in just to hold it in place. Then I'm just going to use the nylon side, and the punch is now holding those holes, lining them up so that the pin will slip through. And now I'm just going to tap this in like so. Just a little love tap, protect my OD green finish. There we go. That is a full install of a Mil-Spec trigger. Now we're just going to test it. I don't have the safety in yet, so I'm just going to put my finger here to protect it from slamming into the lower receiver. So if I pull the trigger, it breaks. Locks open, breaks. Once I get the rest of the lower put together so that this is protected, I will put a pull weight gauge on there and find out what the actual pull weight is, but it's probably somewhere around 7 to 8 pounds on the Mil-Spec springs. And that's the whole thing. We're just going to cut this one right there. And thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace. MS Videos. We out.